Hey everyone, my name is Donovan, but you can call me Don, and this is my dad.
Hi, I'm Dean, and welcome to Talking Hoops.
Oh, I did it exactly the same.
We did.
Okay.
All right, so this week we changed it up a little bit, and we're gonna talk about
Our top 10 point guards. All time.
all time. All right, so the first thing I want to say is finding a top 10 was pretty hard.
Especially since I only started watching 4 years ago.
But see, I mean, the way you watch videos and stuff like that, I know that you've probably seen a lot of the.
I know a little bit, but that's it.
But I mean, it's still a good way to go. Maybe next time we'll do something where we can compare your top 5 point guards that play today, and then I can compare them to the top 5 point guards from back in the day.
That's something we should actually talk about.
We'll talk about that. But anyways, okay. So when we're talking about point guards, we all know pretty much they're the floor general.
Yes.
They're the one that kind of is supposed to be the leader of the team, so to speak, right?
The coach on the floor.
The coach on the floor, exactly. And if you listen to our list, it's gonna be 10 people, but I'm sure a lot of you might not agree with the 10 that we have.
Especially the order.
Yeah, and so it's gonna be basically we're gonna kind of go through it, talk about the guy we think should be at whatever number, give us the reason why we think they are where they're at. We might throw in some stats. We don't know a lot of them. We do know some of it, and we don't have all of the information. But we hope that you guys enjoy it. Before we get into that, though, I gotta talk about some of the guys that aren't on the list, because there's so many really good point guards in the league throughout time since the NBA began. If you look back in the days, there's guys like Bob Cousy, right? We were just talking about Jerry West.
Yeah. The logo, right?
The logo. I mean, he's the logo, right? I mean, that's pretty much where they got it from. Who else did we got? You said another one just before we get started.
There was Tim Hardaway and
Tim Hardaway, the creator of the killer crossover.
Really?
Yeah, he's the creator. A lot of the kids, the way they dribble now, mirrored the game after Tim Hardaway. But now, as you see the way the game's advanced, a lot of these younger kids, point guards, have really their dribbling game is on point now. You got guys like Jason Williams, who there's Jay Williams, who was drafted number 2, that played at Duke, and then there's Jason Williams, who everybody knows is white chocolate. Exactly. Who else we got? There's so many different point guards that we could talk about. That's probably not on the list.
yeah, not for me.
Yeah, but maybe we can get started on those. All right.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with our number 10. We're gonna work backwards to number 1, and I'm sure by the time we get to number 1, everybody's probably not gonna be surprised who we think the number 1 point guard is. But we'll get started with our number 10, and Donovan. Don, who's your number 10?
My number 10 is Gary Payton the Glove.
Gary Payton. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so why do you put him at 10?
Well, I know that from what I know, he was one of the best defenders at the point guard position, and he gave a lot of people problems, and the way he played he was very good.
Yeah.
I wish I could say more about him, but that's as much as I know.
Well, the one thing I know for sure is he was a bigger point guard, which did cause problems. He's 6'4", 6'5", something like that. So he was very big, super athletic, probably one of the best defending point guards ever to play the game. Because he could defend the point guard really well. He could defend the 2 if he needed to. Actually, he was pretty good at defending anybody, whoever he got to. Probably one of the tops, I feel, with posting up. He was a point guard that could post up anybody and get to where he wanted to. He was a really good floor general, and I think that probably is probably the hugest thing about him. That's a good number 10. I personally have him on my list. I have him a little bit higher, but that's a good number 10. My number 10 is actually Kyrie Irving. And like, I mean, a lot of people might not agree with him even being on the list, or might even put him up higher. The only reason why I can't have him higher is because he's more of a scorer than a point guard, in my opinion. When you look at him when he was playing with the Cavs, because LeBron is a point forward, he was playing off ball a lot, yeah, and because he's such a he's probably one of the best finishers, one of the best closers at the point guard position that there is in the game right now. But as a point guard, I can't put him as one of the higher than 10 in my opinion.
Not all time.
Yeah, all time. Yeah, in my opinion, because I look at him more of a scorer than a floor general. I'm sure as he gets older, because he's only been in the league, what, maybe 6 years, 8 years, maybe something like that.
He got drafted in 2011, so that's like 9 years.
9 years.
Already.
So 9 years. Okay, so I was close. 8, 9 years. 8, 9. So he's been in the league for about 9 years now, and every team that he's been on, he proved that he can score.
But he's not a proven leader.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's hard for me to put him any higher, but that's why I got him at 10.
That's a pretty ambitious number 10. A lot of people don't think he's as good as that.
Well, I mean, like I said, you look at what he's done in his career. He's won a championship. He's a damn good scorer. He can handle the ball hella good. Like, he's a really good ball handler, which to me, that's a big part of being a point guard, is being able to handle the ball, being able to bring the ball up, which he can do very well. He does it, like you said, I think, but being the floor general and actually controlling the game for others.
Yeah.
Right?
Making others better.
Yeah, because he can control the game himself, get the ball, do what he gotta do, score, whatever, but controlling the game and making sure everybody else is involved, I think that's probably the thing he needs to work on. And now that he's in Brooklyn, and Kevin Durant comes back, they're gonna make some noise because he's gonna have to defer a lot of that scoring to Durant.
A lot of people think they're gonna be number 2 in the East after the Bucks, maybe even number 1.
It'll be interesting to see what happens because Kevin Durant is arguably the best or second best player in the league, whether you talk about Antetokounmpo or LeBron James. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens when he's back and see where they land. So I'm excited to see it when the NBA gets back around to play. All right, that's our number 10.
For number 9, I have Jason Kidd.
Okay. All right.
I know that he's not as. Most of these guys are my top 10 is the obvious top 10, the people who impacted their teams the most and who led their teams the best and everything. And the thing I want to talk about is my order of them. So the reason I put Jason Kidd above Gary Payton is because of his impact offensively and on both of the ends of the floor, because he was a triple-double machine at the point guard position. But I know, I think there was one game he had 6 steals or something. But he was a dog on both ends of the court, basically. Yeah,
I understand. That's a good call. Jason Kidd would definitely be in anybody's top 10. Placing them where you place these guys in the top 10. I think you're gonna find out that a lot of the guys we have on our top 10 are in the top 10 of many of the analysts, many of the YouTube guys, ESPN, and everybody that talks about basketball. A lot of the guys that we're talking about, they're in the same top 10 as theirs. Orders a little bit different for different reasons. Jason Kidd's in my top 10 too, but he's not my number 9. He's a little bit higher. But I can totally understand that. Watching him play and seeing what he could do from the very beginning. When he started, if I'm not mistaken, he was drafted to the Dallas Mavericks, and he was playing with Jamal Mashburn, Chris Jackson, and they was making some noise, and they were young and they were making some noise. Jason started really making a name for himself in the league. He started moving around a bit, getting traded here and there. I think he played in Phoenix for a little bit. He played, and then of course he played in the Nets, and did I think that's where he made most of his noise, playing for the Nets. But yeah, being a triple double machine and doing everything that he did, really good defender. He was a decent height too. I think he's like 6'4", so he's a decent height as well. So that's a good pick at 9. My number 9 is Chris Paul. And anybody who watches a lot of basketball, you watch Chris Paul and the way he plays. I mean, he doesn't want to lose. He's like, everything that he does is to try and win the game all the time. He's definitely one of the better ball handlers. And the thing about Chris Paul is he can score because he can shoot the lights, he can dribble, he can post up. But he's a floor general. When he gets on the court, everybody else around him is better because of the way he leads the team. I mean, you look at the days when he was with Lob City, and for those of you who watch a lot of basketball, Lob City, those years when he was there in Lob City, which is the LA Clippers, was a very exciting time. They couldn't quite get over the hump while he was there. There's a little bit of, animosity and, arguing, injuries. Yeah, there's times they made it to the playoffs just right before they're supposed to go to the Western Conference Finals. Somebody gets hurt. Just before the final starts, Chris Paul gets hurt. Blake Griffin gets hurt. So there's a lot of things that kind of stop them from getting to the finals. But arguably, probably one of the best teams in history to never win a title. If you look at their roster and who they had on the roster, I mean, come on, DeAndre Jordan. You throw the ball up anywhere, near the basket, it's gonna be a dunk for sure. You know what I mean? And then of course you got Blake Griffin. I gotta say though, Blake Griffin, since he left the Clippers, and I know this has nothing to do with the point guard, but since he left the Clippers, since we're talking about the Clippers, since he left the Clippers, his outside shooting's gotten so much better now that he's with the Pistons. But he's always been injury prone from the day that he got into the league. I think his first season he couldn't play because he was injured.
He had the Ben Simmons treatment.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it was kind of tough, but once he got in, he made some noise, and he's still making some noise up there in Detroit. But yeah, at my number 9, I have Chris Paul.
I actually have Chris Paul at 8.
You have him at 8.
Yeah.
All right.
Right above Jason Kidd, just for all the reasons you said. He impacts the game so much, and he's the only true point guard in today's league. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. When you watch him play, like I said, I think before when I was talking about him, like watching him direct the team, coach the team on the floor, it's amazing to watch. Like you look at what the noise that they're making right now in OKC with the team that they have. I mean, not to say that they have like a strong team, because they have a lot of good players, but they're not stars, except for Chris Paul himself. Right.
It was just totally unexpected because they had all these young guys, all these pieces that you didn't think would fit together, but they made it work.
Oh man, you watch them play. I've seen them play a couple games, and Chris Paul at his age now, 35. Anybody saw the All-Star game? If you guys saw the All-Star game, that dunk, like at 35, you gotta remember now, Chris Paul is only 6 feet tall, so he's not like this huge point guard that's like making noise and like just like pushing everybody around. He's 6 feet tall. And he went down the lane and he flushed one down with authority at 35 years old. It's amazing. They say that he's doing this special diet or something like that now.
Oh, I think he's like
vegan or something. Yeah,
some kind of vegetarian thing.
Yeah, like he's doing this, which is helping his game and helping his health and whatever. Which is interesting to see. But it's nice to see guys like that doing so well at their age. It's funny to say that though, because like kind of dropping off subject a little bit, but Michael Jordan, I think his last 3 championships, he was in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
Like 34, 35, and 36 was the 3 years. His 96, 97, 98, I think. Those 3 years, I think he was 34, 35, and 36, or something pretty close to that. So he was actually at his peak, or towards his peak at that age, and still winning very well. So to see guys like LeBron at 35, and Chris Paul at 35 doing what they're doing, it doesn't surprise me. But it is interesting to see, and it's fun to watch these old guys kind of school these young kids, because some of these young kids, like we talked about the last time, they come into the league and they just want to dunk on guys, or they just want to hit that big 3-pointer, and they don't have all of the fundamentals like somebody like Chris Paul has.
Yeah.
So it's a good one. That's a good one for your number 8. My number 8 is, I have it flopped. So my number 8 is Jason Kidd.
Okay.
And probably the same reasons as yours. I'm looking at Kidd though. His all around game was crazy good. It's interesting to watch him play and all the guys that, you know, the one thing I really love about really good point guards is their ability to see the floor and pass, because like being able to dribble the ball, see the floor, and pass the ball is huge. And as a point guard, you have to have those skills. And Jason Kidd, probably by far, was one of the best at being able to see the floor and make the right pass. You know, because that's so important. And the thing is, you know, I talked to you one time about it before, how when these guys, before these guys came into the NBA, most, if not all of them, was the main guy on the team that they were on in college, in high school, or whatever. Because some of these guys, LeBron, whatever, they came in straight from high school. Some of these kids, but they were the main guy on their high school, college team, or whatever. So they was the one making all the points. They was the one scoring. And when they came into the NBA, now they're playing against all of the guys who was the main guy on their college or high school team. So they have to find their way. They have to find their way to figure out where they actually fit in. Because even though you was the top scorer on your team in high school or college, that doesn't mean you will be the top scorer in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these guys, they found their way to make it. That's why, like, you look at Jason Kidd, floor general wise, he was one of the best. But he could also put some points out. Like he could score the ball, and do what he needed to do to make sure that they got wins. So that's why I got him at my number 8.
Yes. At number, what are we on?
7.
7. I have Allen Iverson.
Iverson. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people argue that he's a point guard or a shooting guard, but I think even on basketballreference.com, which is like the encyclopedia for basketball, which is what people call it, even there he's listed as both point guard and shooting guard because he played both literally.
Mm-hmm.
He switched off every year, but that's kind of the reason why I have him a little lower. But you have to have him on your list, whichever one you have him on. I think because of how great of a scorer he was. He's probably one of the highest scorers on this list, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the way he scored the ball, he could do anything he wanted on the floor, and he led that Sixers team to the finals with at least one win in the finals against that Lakers team. So
yeah, and that was I mean you figure that Lakers team, they was playing against Shaq and Kobe, Shaq and Kobe. Yeah, I mean, one of the best tandems to ever play together in the NBA, and you know he didn't have much on his side, Allen Iverson for the Sixers, and Mutombo was there, but Mutombo was close to getting he was towards the end of his Theo Ratliff and some of these other kids was there, but it was probably hard for them to get over that hump playing against Shaq was unstoppable. Like nobody could stop Shaq, especially in those years when, as we was talking about, the way the game was played. It's really hard to stop somebody like Shaq, and then of course Kobe. So that's actually a really good pick at your number 7. My 7 is Gary Payton.
Oh, the glove.
Yeah, I know you had him at 10, if I'm not mistaken. I had to put him up at number a little bit higher, because of how he played and what he did. Probably, arguably, the best defending point guard to ever play the game. Arguably, people will grumble, but like I said before, a lot of times because of his tenacity, because of his size, it was hard for other point guards to even get past him. There's a reason why they called him the glove. he would steal the ball so easily, like so easily. And that's why the Sonics was so good that year. I mean, they had Sean Kemp and had some other guys around him, but that's the reason why they were so good. But yeah, that's my number 7.
Okay, at number 6, we're getting into the good ones. I have Steve Nash.
I do too. So go ahead.
At 6?
I have him at 6.
Okay. So I have Steve Nash at 6 because of he really was one of your true point guards that kind of influenced the game back in the early 2000s and helped a lot of people learn. Like it paved the way for players like Chris Paul and everything, and taught them how to like play correctly, kind of. And the way he played with Stoudemire and those Suns, and it helped Mike D'Antoni get his groove.
Yeah, you look at what he's doing now in
with the Rockets.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, everything he was really good.
Yeah. But you know, it's Steve Nash. Speaking about Steve Nash, when he was at Santa Clara, I got to watch him play at the Maui Invitational.
Really?
Yeah. And we were watching the game, and I was watching the game by myself. I was waiting for a couple of my friends to come down, my brother to come down. And I texted them, and I was like, well, back then it wasn't text, but I called them, and I was like, yo, there's this dude, there's this kid here. His name is Steve Nash. Bro, he's gonna be like amazing when he gets to the NBA. And this was when he was a junior. I saw him playing. I think he was a junior. And as soon as he came out, everybody was like, wow, where did this kid come from? Because he came from Santa Clara, you know, it's not like a really big school. But, you know, like watching him play, his toughness, you know, like he's so tough. He can score. He's not afraid to take the ball to the hole, you know. And a lot of guys, you look at nowadays, they talk about the white kids or whatever. There's some tough white kids that can play ball and they can shoot and handle the ball. And he was one of those guys. He made his way, became, of course, I think 2-time MVP.
Back to back.
Yeah, you know, so he proved that he can do everything that you need.
So going into the top 5.
All right.
I have John Stockton at number 5.
Stockton.
I think all-time assist leader, all-time steals leader. He was probably the best true point guard to play.
Stockton.
Or one of the best. According to this list, I'd have him at number 2. But yeah, he was one of the best point guards to ever play. The way he could see the floor, and he played with Karl Malone. It's just.
At 5, I would have Curry. Arguably, the best ball handler the league has ever seen. Arguably. Now, there might be guys who can handle the ball better. Arguably, though, you watch the way he plays, I mean, guys have seen clips where he can dribble between 3 or 4 defenders and still get off a 3. Knock it down in somebody's face. That shows that you can actually play the ball. Now, I also put him because he's very unselfish. And some people would say, no, he just chucks up threes. He shoots from wherever he wants. That's true. That's very true. But he also knows how to lead his team the right way. When there's an open man, he's going to pass to the open man. No matter what. He's not going to just chuck it up just because. He's going to chuck up a 3 when he's wide open. Sometimes somebody might be on him, or when he knows he needs to put a dagger in the other team, he'll show up a 3. But he knows how to run the team.
Yeah.
You know, so I say that.
And I think he definitely belongs on the list because he's not arguably the best shooter ever in the league, and he just deserves higher. So
Okay, all right.
For number 4, I have Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, me too.
From the Bad Boy Pistons. Not the one playing now.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, don't get
as good as he is, you know.
Don't get it twisted.
From what Isaiah Thomas is one of the few ones that I don't know that much about, but I need to have him on this list because I know how much he impacted like people like Michael Jordan because of the way the Bad Boy Pistons destroyed them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And eventually Michael Jordan got better and led them. And as the Pistons got older, they got their turn at the throne.
Yeah.
But, you know, Isaiah Thomas was the reason that those Pistons were as good as they were. Well, one of the reasons. I know
Yeah.
they had some other good players too.
Well, you know what they had. I agree with you. And since he's my number 4 too, I'm gonna just kind of overlap with you a little bit. They didn't have as much quote unquote all-star power on those teams. Isaiah was the man, like on their team. Like he was the man. I mean, they had Bill Laimbeer, they had John Sally, they had Dennis Rodman for a period on those teams. They had the microwave, Vinnie Johnson. So they had what is that other, the two guards? Shucks, forget the two guards. But anyways, they had a lot of good guys that could do some good work. Not perennial all stars like Isaiah, because like Isaiah made it multiple years. Some other guys on the team might have made it once, twice, or 2 or 3 times or whatever. But you look at what he did. I mean, again, he was a true point guard because of the way he could actually coach and lead the team. He was a phenomenal scorer, super athletic. I mean, at 6'1", he dunked the ball on centers in game. Like, he dunked right over Patrick Ewing off a rebound, like at 6'1". You know what I mean? And even Allen Iverson at 6'1" did some amazing things at their height. But that's why I feel like he should be on the team. Of course, championships, everybody knows championships makes a big deal, and I think that's another reason why they won 2 in a row. One of the few teams that can say they won back-to-back. But those bad boy Pistons was no joke.
Okay, number 3, I have Oscar Robertson.
Okay.
Another one that I can't talk much about, but I looked at some of the stats and he was a pretty damn good player. Because I saw some 30 points per game seasons, 29, and in an era where it was mostly run by centers like Wilt Chamberlain, right?
Yeah.
In that area, it seems like it would be pretty hard at his height to be that good, but he was. Yeah,
and it's funny because I have him at number 3 too. And it's probably for the same reason. I'm older, of course, than you, but I wasn't around at that time to watch him play. But like all of the stories I heard and all of the things I saw, videos wise and stuff like that they see run, they talked about him and his greatness. And you can't leave out somebody that averages 30 points a game, at the point guard position, and did a great job as he did. When he was playing, so you can't leave him out. He's a legend, top 50 greatest of all time. You look at the NBA, so you can't leave somebody off this list. That's why we had to put him at 3. I think that's where he belongs, even though there's probably people who argue that he belongs higher. But that's where he stands for me. All right.
At 2, I have Curry.
Okay. All right.
Curry, as we said, the best shooter of all time, and the way he's impacted the game has been pretty dang crazy. And he's led, as much as Kevin Durant has had an impact, it's his team. And he's led these Warriors to a dynasty, 5 finals in a row, 3 championships as a result. And I think just everything that he does, just a lot of good came from him.
So my number 2 is John Stockton. And growing up in the era that I did, I got to see John Stockton play all the time. If I'm not mistaken, he is still the assist leader.
I'm pretty sure.
I think there's some guys that are trying to creep up on him. But arguably one of the best point guard when it comes to assists. If you ever had the chance to watch True Pick and Roll, Stockton to Malone. The reason why that you hear that all the time is because that was like the unstoppable combination. He would bring the ball down, Stockton would post and roll, he would just dish the ball off to Malone, and Malone would get that easy bucket under the basket. Nobody could stop Malone under the basket. There's very few people that could stop Malone under the basket. So that's why I have him at that position. He was at his height also, again, he wasn't very tall. I think maybe 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", something like that. But one of the best floor generals to ever play the game. So that's why I got him there. He never won a championship, which sucks for him. But they went to the finals 2 years straight. And for the entire time that him and Malone was playing together, they went to the playoffs. The entire time they were together. So that says a lot about him and about the team and those that are around him. So, yeah. So that's my number 2.
And number 1 is Magic Johnson.
Of course.
I didn't say I put Magic Johnson. I know you put him
Yes.
at number 1 because he's definitely number 1.
Yeah.
As much as I'd like to put Curry on number 1. I only say that because I'm a Curry fan. But Magic Johnson with the Showtime Lakers, he's the best to ever do it. I said earlier that John Stockton would be my second best true point guard because Magic is my first.
Okay.
You know, him in the Lakers, the way he looked at the floor, you know, I've only seen highlights, but you can just tell how talented he was.
Yeah. You know, I think the thing that made him the most special is his size.
Oh yeah, he's like 6'9".
Yeah, he's the same size as LeBron, but he played point guard all the time. He never played any other position. That was his position, point guard. And I think it was interesting how he would only score when they needed. He never took the game into his own hands and was trying to be the primary scorer. Although he could post up anybody at any time and put the rock in the hole. It did help him that he played with Kareem for many years. That was probably super helpful. But if I'm not mistaken, his rookie year, Kareem got hurt, and he was the reason why they won that championship that they won. So that's our top 10.
Yeah, that was interesting
That was
to see our different perspectives. But yeah, that was good.
Well, I like your top 10 because I've always wondered because I know that you didn't get to watch a lot of these guys play because you're young. I've always wondered what you thought. I know that you had to go look at some footage and look at some information to really get a good idea of what these guys did because you didn't get a chance to really watch them play, right? But just seeing the stats and watching some highlights, you can understand why they're considered some of the top players in the world, and then that's how you know that you can put them in your top 10 point guards.
Yep.
So,
thank you for watching this video. If you watched all the way, then props to you.
Thank you.
We've been told how long the other video was, and we'll work on that. But yes, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to. Share this video with a friend, and
Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching, and we out.